So on this channel, I like to talk about mods for Fallout 4, Skyrim, Starfield. I throw in some other games on occasion, but those are kind of the bread and butter. One question that I do get quite often though is, does this mod work for Series S or does this mod list work for Series S? So I wanted to actually unpack that a little bit in this video and why it might matter in some cases, but maybe not in most cases like you might think. Before we can answer that main question, we do have to go back a little bit. So when mods were first introduced on console for Fallout 4 and Skyrim, the consoles at the time were the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. That's what you're going to see on Bethesda.net when you look at the platforms. So whether you have a PlayStation or an Xbox, it's going to say Xbox One for Xbox and PlayStation 4 for PlayStation. And it has to work on these consoles. The caveat there is the question that we're going to be answering. So there are mods that do have Series S attached to them or Series X, and even in some cases on the PlayStation, you might even see PS5. I feel like these types of mods are mainly geared towards like, hey, if you have one of these consoles, the thing that this mod does, it's going to work better on your console because it's got more memory in it or can just handle these things better. However, both of these games, Skyrim and Fallout 4, have gotten updates since to make the game run better on modern consoles. And just from running this YouTube channel, that has been kind of mixed for a lot of people. While the Xbox is like a mini PC and there is a lot of mods on it, it's not going to work as well as a PC using mods. But if you want to get into modding, it shouldn't be something that should dissuade you from doing so. The console that I have at the moment is the Xbox Series X, so in theory, it should be able to handle some of the more intense mods, but you're still going to run into issues if your load order is messed up, or if you're downloading a mod that has conflicts with another mod, or that doesn't play nice with it. From my experience, I've had a lot of different Xboxes over the years. I started actually modding on the Xbox One S, as in downloading mods, not actually modding myself. And then I've had the Xbox One X, and then I eventually upgraded when the newer consoles came out and got the Xbox Series X. I will say in pretty much every case, I couldn't really tell a difference between having one console or another. Any issue I've had has pretty much always boiled down to me using a mod that doesn't play nice with another mod, or I need to move something around because that's just not a good spot for it, or I missed something in the description that said, hey, you need to load this below something like this. Well, that and the Skyrim Anniversary Update and the Fallout 4 Next Gen Update, because those had a lot of compatibility issues with mods, as well as some other things. Creations had a specific set of issues. In the past, when Skyrim and Fallout 4 were both like 30 frames per second games, there were mods like Uncap FPS. You might have gotten more mileage out of that if you had a newer Xbox console, but you would run into like screen tearing when one part of the frame does not match the bottom part of the frame. You're still kind of operating within the parameters of Fallout 4 on the console, so it's only going to be so good. Skyrim is the same way, although I do feel like Skyrim actually holds up better with mods these days, but let me know in the comments down below if you disagree. One example of a mod that has like specific versions for the Xbox Series S as opposed to the Xbox Series X is actually one we looked at in the last load order video that I made for Fallout, and those are the Escape from Boston mods. I use the Xbox Series X version because that's what I have, and since something like pre-combines were disabled for that, the draw distance should be a little bit better as well. All kind of depends on your load order and if it's solid, and if things in the distance can load and not cause an issue somewhere else. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to run into other issues with other mods or conflicts with mods that you've had in the past if you haven't cleared your reserve space, for example. So for now, if you're new to modding, I probably wouldn't get too hung up on these types of differences in mods. Worth looking at those specific mods, but probably is not going to be like a make or break for your list. So my point is, at the end of the day, you're always going to want to be reading mod descriptions for what the mod actually does. There's a lot of helpful guides out there, as well as some beginner tips if you're just getting into modding. I think a lot of mod authors do try to make mods less intensive, especially for console if they're ported over, and maybe there are some changes that are made. But generally, I don't think any mod author wants to make a mod mod that just doesn't work with like 90% of other mods, just go back to the full name, mods, modifications. They're things that are added to the game after the fact. So whenever you do that, those things are trying to modify or add on top of what's already there. It's not going to be as good as like being baked into the game from the outset. With that said though, there are a lot of really good mods that work really well on these games. And at this point in the game's life cycles, I think it would be kind of a disservice if you didn't want to try any of them just because you didn't want to screw up a game save or something like that. When you go from not playing with mods to playing with mods, a new save is already created for you anyway, and you can always duplicate things and try things out. And that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that was helpful for you. I get that question a lot, so I wanted to try to expand on that a little bit, and at the very least aim to clear things up from the perspective of somebody who has been making mod videos for years. I try to answer those comments as best I can, but then I also don't want to like overwhelm people with information, so I try not to like write them a book. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.